My three questions today, number 61 to number 63, it's here, isn't it? Huh? Number 61 to 63, on the 21st day in the current series, to Ong Tee Kiat, on the pork ring free zone scandal is as follows. Number one, yesterday I had asked Ong to confirm authenticity of the exchange of letters which appeared in the website, in the Blogspot website, showing that on 10th of May 2008, he had written to the PM seeking approval for 1.2 billion ringgit payment as variation order for the PKFZ project to its turnkey developer, Kuala Dimensi Central Berhad. In his response from Paris, in his blog, confirming the authenticity of the exchange of letters, Ong said that he was merely relaying the Port Klang Authorities Board's decision to the then Prime Minister, that would be Abdullah. Ong said, and I quote, "I was then into my ministerial job for less than 2 months, and the PKA Board's decision was made even before my time. Besides, the PricewaterhouseCoopers had not even started their position review work." He added that the variation order was approved by the PKA Board in 2008 and had written to him, asking him to write to Abdullah to apply for the additional funding. He noted that at that time, PKA was also at risk of defaulting payment as the deadline to meet its financial obligation was approaching. I'm stunned by the sheer arrogance and the utter sense of irresponsibility of Ong's reply, adopting a position disclaiming all responsibility for the 1.2 billion ringgit KDSN variation order. I want to ask Ong whether he regarded the post of Transport Minister as just a postman or delivery boy for PKA, without any ministerial responsibility to ensure that the 1.2 billion ringgit variation order demanded by Kuala Dimensi for PKFZ was proper and legitimate. Has he forgotten that 1 month before he endorsed the 1.2 billion ringgit KDSN variation order, he had publicly declared in early April 2008 that he would tell all about the PKFZ scandal, how the project had ballooned to 4.6 billion ringgit. Yet 1 month later, Ong was merely endorsing another 1.2 billion ringgit PKFZ development cost variation order without batting an eyelid. Wasn't Ong aware that even if he wanted to endorse KDSN's 1.2 billion ringgit PKFZ variation order, he had to take it to the Cabinet for approval, as this was one of the specific conditions of Cabinet approval for the PKFZ project in 2002, that every variation order, every 100 million ringgit variation order in the development cost of PKFZ will require prior Cabinet approval. Here there was not just a 100 million ringgit variation order, but one which exceeded 100 million ringgit limit by 12 times. When did the Cabinet alter its 2002 decision that every 100 million ringgit variation order in the development cost of PKFZ require prior Cabinet approval, binding the two previous Cabinet Ministers, Lim Yong Sik and Chong Kong Choi? When was it varied to exempt the 1.2 billion ringgit variation order during the time of Ong as Transport Minister from being endorsed by the Cabinet? Ong cannot claim that he did not know about this specific Cabinet condition for the PKFZ project on the ground that he was not in the Cabinet in 2002, as I had repeatedly mentioned this Cabinet condition in Parliament since 2007. Ong also cannot claim that he did not have the time to submit the 1.2 billion ringgit PKFZ variation order to the Cabinet for approval. Ong was appointed Transport Minister on Tuesday, 18th of March 2008, and there were 8 Wednesdays when Cabinet met before Ong sent off his endorsement letter asking for approval for the 1.2 billion ringgit variation order from the Prime Minister. Why didn't Ong bring up this 1.2 billion ringgit PKFZ development cost variation order demanded by Kuala Dimensi at any one of these 8 Cabinet meetings before he shot off his letter to the PM asking for approval to release the 1.2 billion ringgit payments? If this is not ministerial dereliction of duty, I don't know what is. Question number 2. I welcome the announcement by the Transparency International Malaysia President, Dato' Paul Lau, announcement of his resignation as a life member of MCA, as not to compromise his appointment as chairman of PKFZ Ad Hoc Committee on Corporate Governance and his impartiality in investigating the 12.5 billion ringgit PKFZ scandal. I had publicly stated that I had not doubted Paul Lau's integrity and was prepared to give him the opportunity to walk the talk. on making a significant contribution to improving the system of governance and integrity in government agencies. The only question is whether Paul Lau and the PKFZ Ad Hoc Committee on Corporate Governance will be allowed to fully probe into all the past PKFZ misdeeds, misuse of powers, conflict of interest, corrupt practices, or all forms of malpractices which landed the country with a 12.5 billion PKFZ scandal, although it started off as a 1.1 billion ringgit project in 2002 under Leong Sik, quadrupling to more than 4 times to 4.6 billion ringgit under Kong Choi. This question is pertinent as Ong had declared after the announcement of the PKFZ Ad Hoc Committee on Corporate Governance that we have had enough of investigations, implying that Paul Lau and his committee will not be able to probe into any past misdeeds of the PKFZ scandal. Can Ong answer this question? Question number 3. The first week of Parliament has ended, and MPs are still not given copies of the PricewaterhouseCoopers report on the PKFZ and the appendices, although this was virtually promised by Ong through the PKFZ official website. Let me ask Ong one specific question. Will the PwC report and appendices be given to MPs before the current meeting ends on June the 30th?